All right, we've got a great interview here with Chris Kain from Tec Specialty Products. Tec is today's sponsor, of course. Thank you, Tec. Chris is the California rep. He's going to talk to us about his location and about what he loves about working for Tec. He's also going to share with us some stories. Let me pull him to the stage. And if you've never met Chris, you're in for a treat. Chris is a great guy. He's been very active on social media, making friends everywhere he goes. You might have seen one of his bobbleheads floating around back in Las Vegas at Surfaces International. And if you were lucky enough to snag one of those, go ahead and hang on to that. The resale value is only going up. Let me tell you something. I'm excited to have Chris here today. Let's get him up to the stage. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Luke. How's it going?
It's going great. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day. Why don't you introduce yourself, where you're at in the world, and what you do for Tec?
Okay, well, I'm Chris Kain. I'm the technical manager for the Western United States and Canada, basically the Rocky Mountains West. I've been with Tec for over 15 years now. I started out 11 years covering the East out of Florida. And then about 4 years ago, moved to California. So I'm just outside of Sacramento now. So that's my main job. And then my secondary job is, keeping up on the social media and reaching out and talking to the contractors in that forum. So I've been doing that for a couple of years now.
Yeah. So you have quite a large territory.
I do, but I'm the technical rep, so we've got a lot of sales reps within that have a smaller area, so that allows me to cover a greater range.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. All right. Can you share with us what, after 15 years, what is your favorite thing about working for your company, working for Tec?
Well, I like it because, one, I've got the territory and I kind of run it like my own business. I mean, of course, I get the goals and objectives from the company, but after that, I work closely with the sales reps, marketing, R&D, but I kind of manage the territory like it's my own company, following the company goals. So that gives me a lot of freedom to do what needs to be done for the customers and the contractors. So I like that. And because we have a lot of great high quality products, it's fun to talk about the products and solve unique problems and challenges with the installers. And having a lot of people may not realize it, but we have everything from flooring adhesives for the soft flooring side to a full line of surface prep to mortars and grouts, which is what we're probably known for most in the tile industry.
Yeah.
As a technical rep, I've got that whole portfolio behind me. So a lot of times I can be called in for, one little unique situation, but can maybe solve 3 or 4 problems for that installer, GC, or architect, because we have such, a vast line of products and solutions. So that's one of the things I really enjoy, work closely with the installers.
That sounds like a great company. A great, really, business model is to empower your people. Let them take care of their business. Let them do what they do best. And you certainly are. You're making a lot of headway. I know growing up in Minnesota, working on the East Coast and New York and stuff, I was introduced to Tec early on. In fact, my mother's backsplash, this quick story, is a power grout. And I did everything against the book. I hard grouted the countertop to the backsplash. And we had some really fat, joints. It was a handmade tile and stuff like that. But, I go back there every year and I'm happy because I don't have to do any maintenance to it. She's never once asked me to recaulk or anything. It's a black grout too. It's like pitch black. And that grout's never cracked. So testimony to power grout right there. And I know some of the tile people on the West Coast don't have quite as much access, but it is coming, and you are a big part of that. And I enjoyed meeting you for the first time a couple years ago at the Mud event, and we had a good time there.
Yes, that's a great event.
What would you say is really your passion and your drive in the industry right now?
Well, I think it ties into my previous answer. I love working with the installers, and anybody that knows me, I'm not, afraid to go out to the job site and get down and dirty, help out, do whatever is needed, try and really partner with the installers. Like I said, I really like working on solutions, not only solving a problem, but also making the installer's job, a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Whether it be, the right product for the situation, or maybe working a little bit differently. Just really trying to be a resource. And I love that. I love being out in the field because I'm learning too every day. I learn something and I take a tip from this installer and file it away and, share it, down the road somewhere.
Yeah.
Help somebody else out with it.
That's a great attitude. Never stop learning. I love that. Do you hear any common myths about your role or in general, the role, that you have?
Well, I think just in general, and not just within our industry, but even family members and friends, I spend a lot of time traveling and a lot of nights out, a lot of airplanes, a lot of hotels. So people think it's a vacation and that it's fun. And, maybe the first trip or two 25 years ago was fun, but the actual travel part, it's not really vacation,
Right.
And I average probably about 125 nights out a year.
Wow.
That's about 1 out of every 3 years I'm spending in a hotel, away from, family, away from my home.
Yeah.
So that's one of the myths, and I'm not complaining. I love doing it and I love going where I need to, but it's not a vacation.
Yeah.
So that's one of the myths. For
yeah, sure. That's actually something good to kind of clarify and tell the new reps. I'm sure the companies do kind of let them know, hey, you're going to be excited the first few nights, but that excitement must wear off. I imagine that a third of your time really is on the road, it sounds like.
Right. And then, when you're at a meeting or at a job site somewhere far away, the people that are local, when it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever, their day's over, they go home. Reps, they either run to the hotel or run to catch the flight to get home. So, like I said, I'm definitely not complaining. I love what I do, but, it's, we're not going to Disneyland.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Your position is unique because you hear a lot of, technical stories, horror stories. I'm sure you hear, like Jim, I think Whitfield said, you hear when things are going wrong, but you don't necessarily hear when things are going right. What is the worst tile experiences you've had to kind of help out an installer or contractor on?
Well, the worst is probably, it was probably about 10, 12 years ago in Florida. There was a very high-end outdoor mall that was being built, new construction, and there was water features all throughout, and they were all connected. There was waterfalls, ponds, bridges, and close to 100,000 square feet of glass tile was going into this feature.
Wow.
And I got called in early, and there was an architect and a GC. Everybody was involved. And the architect was specifying a waterproofing for the entire project that was designed for parking garages. And it was basically meant for the floor or the level of parking garages. And I happened to work for that company before Tec, so I was pretty familiar with the product. And I knew it was a wear surface and it wasn't meant to have other products go on top. So I advocated to use a different product, and I tried selling a Tec system warranty for it with our waterproofing, and the architect would not budge. And I was getting a lot of pressure from our distributor that wanted to get the sale because I wanted no part of it if they weren't going to change the waterproofing. And one of the distributor's dealers was providing all the glass tile. And I held firm, and I went to my boss and basically said, look, we don't want any part of this.
Yeah.
If we can't change the waterproofing, and we lobbied as much as we could, and the architect stood still, and we lost the job. And there was a lot of people. I was taking the heat from all sides in the territory. And I got pictures sent to me of all the glass tiles set, no problem, and they were kind of rubbing it in my face. The pictures were before they filled it with water. They filled it with water, and within 48, 72 hours, all the glass tile was now at the bottom of the water feature.
Wow.
The mortar bonded just enough to the waterproofing to hold for that couple days.
Yeah.
You filled the water and you got some pressure and stuff going on. It all failed. And long story short, the owner basically fired the architect, the GC, the installer, and that went into a lawsuit, which we weren't a part of, thankfully.
Yeah.
And the owner came back to us, and we ended up getting the job. All tech, complete system warranty. And I use that story all the time to trust the technical reps and to push system warranties. And I'm no longer covering Florida, but when I was, I would always stop by, and, even after 10 years, it looks as good as the day it went down. And, it was a hard lesson for some people to learn. And, it helps me push systems and system warranties. And yeah, that was a big, expensive job. But
yeah.
You can still apply that to, somebody's bathroom, remodel or something. Yeah. Nobody wants failure. I mean, it hurts the whole industry.
It really does. It really does. And I've got a few more questions here, but I want to encourage the audience. Go ahead and ask a question in the Q&A box, audience. Chris will be happy to answer any questions you have. That story is incredible. Thanks for sharing, and that story needs to be told more and more, because, what a waste. What a waste. And all they would have had to do is listen to the pro, listen to the tech rep, the technical rep, and, partner with the company to get it done right the first time. What's your favorite experience, your favorite tile story? Do you have one? It could be funny. It could be a win. I mean, that sounds like a win in the end.
Yeah, that ended up being a win. Kind of a quick, funny one. I went through months to get clearance to go out onto Cape Canaveral in Florida, where they launched the shuttles and everything, and finally get the clearance. And they wouldn't give me any information what job I was going to look at. Okay. But I had visions of seeing the shuttle or satellites, and I was all excited, telling everybody I knew that I was going.
Yeah.
And when I went, I had to turn over the cell phone and my wallet and keys and everything. And I get in the back of a pickup truck, and there's like 8 Air Force guys, I guess, with machine guns and everything. And we're riding in the back of the truck. And I'm thinking, to have this kind of escort, it's got to be something amazing. And we drive deep into the base, and it was an office building, and it was the lobby, and they wouldn't let me. It was like a horse with blinders on. They wouldn't let me look anywhere except the floor. And they wanted to know there's cables under the floor, and they pick them up with suction cups to get to the cables. So they wanted to know what the best system was for that.
Yeah.
And I spent about literally 30 seconds looking at this floor, and then they escorted me out. I didn't see anything. It took months to get this clearance.
Yeah.
And all I saw was about a 2 foot by 2 foot area, and had enough to make my recommendation. So it was kind of a huge letdown, but, kind of fun, more fun to tell it years later than, the actual day. But,
Yeah. So it's a good story, though. It's a good story for sure.
Yeah. Just a little disappointing. Never saw the shuttle.
Yeah. They blindfolded you in there.
Yeah.
We do have a question from the audience. Paul Lucia, I believe that's Paul, asks, what waterproofing do you offer that would be comparable to 8 and 9?
Well, I am not really familiar with the 8+9. I know I've, seeing and hearing about it, but I'm not exactly sure which product that is.
A cemented waterproofing.
Okay, we've got our Triple Flex, which is a 2-part cement where you add the additive to it, you mix it, and then it's got its name Triple Flex because it offers crack isolation up to 1/8. It also is waterproofing, and you can also use it as a mortar. And it's specified in a lot of pools, especially out in California. It's the main specification.
Sounds like a triple threat for sure. That's a good name for that.
Yes, yeah, it's a great product.
Yeah.
So that probably, based on what you said, that's probably the closest. And then we also have Hydroflex, which is a liquid membrane, which is a 1-part waterproofer.
Yeah.
The other solution.
Well, that was Paul Lucia out of Texas, Cabot and Rowe. So if you want to reach out to him later and introduce him to that product, Chris, we appreciate it. Well, hey, that's all the time for this interview. Any parting words, Chris?
No, I'm just want to thank you and appreciate the opportunity. And I look forward to this kind of technology and, either being a part of it or watching it more in the future. Really, love what you're doing and, bringing us forward. So appreciate it.
Oh, well, you're welcome. And thank you for taking the time and sharing your knowledge. We really appreciate it. We're going to put 15 minutes on the clock for networking. And then we've got JP Pescato from Toronto, and he has his account, his business, I should say, New Look Tile and Stone. You can find him on Instagram at New Look Tile and Stone. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.